little bit of an update on the Saquon situation. I don't know how much the money has really moved around, but Shady, what do you think about it, or do you like the Saquon deal?
I mean, I think from the get-go it was a lose-lose, right? I mean, for 1 year, he couldn't get a big contract, right? The tender, or not tender, the franchise tag.
Right.
And as you look at this deal, I guess it's like fool's gold. They just put $900,000 out there and they gave him some incentives. I guess playoff wins, yards. It's like they're playing around with it. This guy is so good, he deserves a contract. Point blank, period. He deserves a contract. And I guess I'm happy for him. I mean, he made something good out of nothing, I guess. But at this point, it's like it's a lose-lose because you can't get no more money. And they gave him, the tag was $10 million. So they gave him, $11 million, and they put the $900,000, I guess, for incentive. So, I mean, I don't love it, but I'm happy that he's happy and he's part of his team.
Well, I guess I like the principle of it. If it's some wiggle room on Saquon's behalf, they couldn't give him more years, but could give him more money. So, the details of it is it's $10.1 million is guaranteed. He can earn up to $900,000 in additional bonuses, 1,350 rushing yards and a playoff berth, 11 total touchdowns in a playoff berth, and 65 receptions in a playoff berth. So all of those incentives would equal up to $900,000. And, of course, part of those incentives is that his team makes the playoffs as well. So it sounds a little different when you get into the details of it.
And he's your best player.
And he's your best player.
Crazy, come on.
I agree. I think it's very crazy. TJ, do you like the Saquon deal?
He made the best of a bad situation. He had no other choice. Like, we all thought, oh, you signed the franchise, deadline is passed to sign a deal. And then you see, oh, they adjusted the deal. So I had to do some research, and I'm like, Edgerrin James did this back in 2005. I didn't know you could do this. So if they can do this, like, you really gonna tie it to incentives? Like, you just couldn't just say, you know what? We know we screwing you over. We know. We just gonna give you a little extra $900,000. And we ain't gonna tie this to incentives. This is just a here, thank you. Like, and it just shows you, bruh, y'all player, it's a business. They gonna treat it like a business. We need to do the same thing. Yeah. Because Saquon, I don't care he not happy.
No.
He's not happy.
It's the same situation.
Like, if he was me, nobody in the front office could talk to me. Yeah. Don't talk to me the whole season. I'm cool with the coaches and the players. Everybody else that's upstairs, don't say a word to me, don't say hi to me, because he's still angry because, like you said, he's the best player on that offense.
Hands down.
And
I'm
not making nowhere near like I'm the best player on the offense or on the team. And so, best out of a good situation, he cannot hold in. We talked about this. He's going to have to play. Yeah. Yeah. Because those incentives, that's what he had last year. So you got to do what you did last year just to reach them. It says he does reach them. Just say he reaches them and they don't make the playoffs, he still don't get the money.
Oh. Yeah, it's tied to the team's success.
He still don't get the money.
Slick, what do you think about the deal?
The Giants made the best out of a bad situation. Saquon Barkley didn't. Because to your point, like, he has to make these incentives, and the team has to make the playoffs. So what was the concern of him just signing the franchise tag? It was, well, he's going to get into the season, and my hamstring's a little tight. Oh, my back's a little bit sore, and he's not going to make himself fully available to the Giants. Well, now he has to be. He has to make sure they get all the way to the finish line and get to the playoffs in order for him to get that extra $900,000. So it's brilliant for the Giants because whereas before they had to worry about how committed is he going to be to the team, now he's committed to the team. Like, he doesn't have a choice if he wants to get that extra money. So I see where the trade-off is, where now he can say he's the third highest paid running back this season. There's a little bit of pride that is redeemed in having held out and saying, I'm not going to sign the franchise tag. But if Saquon Barkley had the attitude of a TJ Houshmandzadeh, we wouldn't be where we are right now. Because he would have come with that a lot sooner. Saquon, to his own detriment, wants to play. Saquon is a good dude who wants to see the Giants succeed. And they're taking full advantage of that.
They say nice guys finish last.
You know what, though? So like, as I look at the contract, that he got. My thing was this: if we're gonna do some type of incentives, right, base contract, you gotta give me more than just what you gave me, right?
900?
Let me get a chance to get up there in the top 3 running backs, top 2 running backs. Right. Give me that. I'll give you a story. In Buffalo, my last year there, we were not good at all, first of all. And I was the best player on the offense. Let's get that straight right now. And it was a problem where they was like, hey, Shady, you know what? They said, we need you to take a pay cut. My antennas go up. Me? For what?
Yeah.
You got these guys in front of me blocking that can block, right? The year before, I was trying to get out of there, but they won't let me go. I said, so why would I take a pay cut? They gave me all these different excuses. They said, you know what? We'll do a incentive-based contract. So I thought about it. I said, let me think about this. Called Drew Rosenhaus, we talking about it. I said, well, if you don't give me a incentive-based contract, because at the time I was supposed to make like $6 or $7 million. I said, well, let me get a chance to make up to like 9, 8. If you're taking me back to like 6
there you go.
or 5.
Yep.
I think it's like 5 they want to bring me down to. So if I'm going to take a incentive-based contract, let me earn it. Don't just give me $1 million worth of incentives and you're going to give me a small salary of $5 million. That makes no sense. Right. So when I look at Saquon Barkley's, I'm like, well, if you want to do an incentive contract and you want me to go earn it, right?
You're not
giving me no money because with the stuff I've been doing, because they didn't give me a contract. So you want me to go earn it, cool. Give me a contract where I can go have incentives, where I can go out there and go get number 2 or number 1.
Me.
Yeah. So that's the issue I have with the contract. But I am happy that, because I hate when players miss out on money. Like Le'Veon Bell, when we spoke, I said, Le'Veon, do not do that, bro. I know you're not happy. Go get that money. Go get it. Don't sit out. You sit out a year, you get rusty. You seen what Deshaun Watson looked like when he took some time off. So at least he's getting paid.
I don't love that it's tied to the team's success either, because
that's so bullcrap, right?
I mean, well, there's just so much that's outside of his control.
Exactly.
We know that Saquon has won games for them before,
that's true.
But they just paid a lot of money to a quarterback that really outside of New York, a lot of people don't have that much faith in. So, I mean, what if he gets them all the way to the finish line and Daniel Jones regresses in the last 2 games and they miss the playoffs?
He just goes back to being dangerous that we know of. Yeah, I mean, he just go back to being himself.
Yes, that's entirely possible. But, I mean, to TJ's point, and this is kind of how I felt about this from the beginning, because it irritates me when players aren't rewarded for their work.
Yes.
But Saquon, I think, is a very unique situation, because the Giants are a brand that we think of as in prestige. They're cornerstone brands of the NFL.
Legacy.
They have Super Bowls, legacy, big stars and legends. And they've been bad for a while. Like, we don't give them enough credit. We talk about all these other teams being dysfunctional and going through coaches and not making the playoffs and having disappointing seasons. We don't really throw the Giants in there that much, but you start holding their record to the light, man,
it's been bad.
That ain't really this isn't that impressive. This brand is not matching up to what you've put out there. And the only reason that we've discussed the Giants over the past 4 years has been Saquon Barkley. In fact, even when Saquon was hurt, he was the most interesting part of their team.
Right.
When is Saquon going to be back? What's he going to look like when he's back? There's nothing to talk about with the Giants. So this is bad business to me. He's the reason they've been interesting. He's the reason they've had a brand over the past 4 years. And if he knows this, he's aware, Saquon, he walks around in New York. He knows that he's the guy despite what Daniel Jones has been paid. So we talked a little bit about this in our pre-show meeting. I know how I would feel, but I'm a petty individual. Do you think that this actually affects the team, like the energy, what he's going to bring to the table this year, TJ?
It really depends on his personality and who he is. Some guys, it may affect them, but they're not going to bring that to the locker room and their teammates. It really depends on him. Because for me, it's 2 people that are responsible for the Giants' success last year. 2 people. Saquon Barkley, Brian Daboll.
Yes.
And the crazy part is, one of those will be rewarded eventually. And Daboll, he'll be rewarded for that.
Yes, he will.
He'll be rewarded for that. But Saquon won't. At least it looks that way. And so as long as he handles it the way they would prefer him to handle it, it won't be a problem at all. He can make it a problem, but he doesn't seem like he's that type of guy. He's just going to be cool and not bring the locker room down. So I don't believe the Giants will have any problems because Saquon is not that type of person. And the Giants should be lucky for that. They should be grateful that he hasn't even made a fuss about it, really. He said some stuff on the podcast, but he didn't really mean it. He was just talking.
No.
Have you, I don't want to make you spill any tea, but have you ever had a teammate that has been in that situation where you felt like it affected them Like they didn't get their money and they brought it to the season?
Nah, most of the guys that I played with that had contract situations, and we talked about this in the production meeting, it's really an individual type of thing. Like, if we're all on the offense, and let's say, I don't know, the wide receiver, Deshaun Jackson, he doesn't get paid, or Jeremy Maclin. Like I'm his brother, so I feel him, but we still have to go out and practice, go to games. You don't really see it. It's more of an individual issue. Now, I've seen certain players that I'm friends with that I've heard that they for a contract, you know, they go out their way to make everybody know that I'm unhappy. But you got to do them things to get this type of money.
Right.
I just never personally experienced players that go through and they make it a big thing for the team. It's always an individual type of.
I mean, I've seen it, and it's not even like, oh, I'm gonna just act up. It's just certain days you walk in there and you just realize and remember what's going on. I'm mad.
Yeah.
So the first coach that says or does anything you disagree with, I'm already mad anyway because of what's going on. It's on. And we was in Cincinnati, like Mike Brown and his family, they out at every practice. They outside at every practice. So they see the show if it is a show.
Yeah. Do you think it ever affected the overall production of the team?
Yes, because it was, we would say no when it would happen, but absolutely because coaches are human. When the guy's upset, you're going to try to pacify that. You really are. You're going to try to pacify that, especially when they're one of your best players. You don't want them to be upset, but it's not too much you can do. And so what's the next best thing? We got to feed him. And so those things can damage a team. It hurt us at times. I know that. We had a really good team in Cincinnati. One good year, one. You're like, damn, why we can't keep doing what they doing now? Good year.
Yeah, building on it.
And it's because of the problems that we had. And at the time, I'm like, nah, that's not bothering us. But when you look back on it and you reflect on it, absolutely it did.
Well, I think it's human nature also when you know that you've earned something and you know that you've been the face of something and you've really maintained a brand in New York City as the guy and been the reason we have eyeballs that you've won games. I think it's human nature to feel a certain type of way about it. And athletes are good at compartmentalizing, like maybe some of the best, to put things in certain spaces and go out and perform. But I really do feel like this is bad business. We obviously have had a couple conversations already this week about the state of running backs, but I really feel like Saquon's particular situation is a bit of an outlier because of what he's done for that team.
And my thing with like the contracts is like you always can get a deal done, right? You might not get everything you want.
Right.
Me either. I might not get everything I want. The agent.
That's a great negotiation when both people walk away somewhat not satisfied. Both parties give.
But you always still will be like happy. I'm happy it's over with.
Yeah.
So like even with Saquon, okay, you may have doubts about, I don't know, him staying healthy. Just ways you do that. You already displayed how you want to give him an incentive-based contract, so you did the same thing. You gave him, I guess, less guaranteed money, but I'm sure he would have been happy to have some security for more than just 1 year.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You could have they could have got a deal done if they really wanted to. If they really wanted him like they say they do, and they look at him as the best player on the team, they could have found a way to give him some money.
But this is the proof of why they're not worried about this disrupting the team. Because as soon as he signed this thing or it was announced, it was he's going to be in training camp.
Yep.
He's going to be there. And what did we get on the flip side? If you want to know, like, what can happen, Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs gone. He left Las Vegas. He's taking a completely different approach than Saquon Barkley is. And if you look at the two personalities, those two personalities, even just from the outside, I don't know either one of them.
Yeah.
But the way Josh is approaching it does not surprise me at all.
Yeah.
Based on everything I've seen and heard him say
over
the years,
He's a good
right?
guy. Yeah.
Saquon, this doesn't surprise me either because he was in a tough spot and he kept hoping that they were going to do right by him rather than going, no, you're not doing right by me, and if you don't, this is going to be the consequence. He never laid that out. The one advantage that the Giants have is that they weren't the ones that took him number 2. Right? Joe Schoen is the new GM. Brian Daboll's the new head coach, and I know this from the years. Like, when you have a new regime come in,
you're right.
They don't feel the same way about that guy that came in.
Hey,
it's like,
after last
you're
year,
not our guy.
They should.
Well,
after last year, the way he carried him, they should.
They won't have to find out what
I mean, they paid Daniel Jones, so that don't matter.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.